Gather, veterans. It's time to join the fight. The long war begins.
This is The Long War. I'm Robbie B, and joining me once again are my partners in crime, Ken Boucher, Mike Haspil, and Wyatt Turk from Jack Clothespin. What's up, guys?
Hobby on battle on hobos.
Hey, everyone.
What's up?
So we're back. This is episode 199. Did you guys know that?
Holy cow. No.
Getting close to 200.
200.
Yeah.
In Space Marine lore, don't we get like some kind of augmentation?
Yeah, we get to hammer some bolts into our foreheads.
Yeah.
Yep.
That was what I was going to do anyway.
You go first.
What's mine say?
Oh, I could see
200, though. That's pretty impressive.
It is. Most people can't do something 30 days in a row. Trust me. I tried.
Ask me how I know. So should we do something special for 200?
I mean, probably. I mean, this is a big year. I mean, I guess we're gonna be hitting 200 episodes. You just hit your 10th year business. I'll be hitting my 9th year business. 3-year stream anniversaries. Right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's gonna be hype.
Wait, did we both start streaming the same year? But you did it that summer, right?
Yeah, I made partners in August, so I think you started like November.
I think my first stream was like December first week.
Oh, and then of course your birthday in December, where everyone has to guess how old you are.
Whatever it is, you'll be wrong.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I actually needed his date of birth the other day for some stuff we were doing, and he gave it to me, and I was like, "That's what?"
That's preposterous when you put it on paper.
Yeah, when you write this down, it doesn't make sense.
It's nice when I don't know, since I moved to this town, I don't get carded a lot, which is really weird because I guess there's so much military that looks the same as me. They just figure they're like, whatever. But the people that do, the times I do, it's such a fun game. Just like watching their eyes like scan the ID because I know where everything is on it. And then when they come to the birthday, you see like the steam actually pour out of their ears as they're like they're like, wait, what?
It's too much math to do.
It's like, what is that number? I haven't seen that number. It's just that doesn't match the face.
First time I've seen that number in front of this number.
Are you trying to pull a McLovin on me right now?
Yeah.
Doesn't even have a last name on his ID.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been but hey, 40K wise, I don't know about you guys, but I've had a super exciting week of chaos, completing Terminators, Space Marines, Lord Discordance, and by completing them, I mean I got my commissions that I paid for in the mail.
Yeah.
Money, skill, or time, it still counts.
Yeah, so I want to just take this up.
A whole slew of tanks. Waiting for some masking paper to come in so I can complete them.
You're working on your Eldar stuff, right?
Oh, yeah.
No, staying active. But before I go too far, I just want to shout out a couple people right here. Player J, big supporter, friend of the show. I commissioned him to do our Dirty Mike and the Boys and my 10 Black Legion Terminators, and Voodoo Von Acid Bath, Twitch content creator. He did 2 of my 3 Lord Discordance. So if you guys see them anywhere on the internet posting things around, hit that follow button.
I think Player J is 1D6 Studio. Like the number 1, the letter D, the number 6.
I understand. Yes, I'm familiar with the terms.
Well, it's radio, so you can't see my stupid face spelling it out. I think he's also working on a Lord Discordant for me.
Oh, Robbie B getting his let me guess. Iron Warriors Lord Discordant?
No.
Maybe.
You don't know anything.
Rob still has his 3rd edition Iron Warriors army at home.
So I've been playing some Heresy locally here, and I put my models on the table, and I'm like, they're not like the Forge-World Horus Heresy, but they're literally older than the Forge-World Horus Heresy when they based the style of the Heresy miniatures off of the old style of the Legion miniatures from the early 2000s. I'm like, I know they're not the same, but I feel like it still counts. And I'm not going to repaint miniatures that are basically the same.
Yeah. Did you buy all of the old metal Iron Warriors upgrade kits?
Those are all my models.
Yeah. I remember when they still sold those in the web store.
Yeah, it's I think I did a video showcase of it once in 2016. I want to say I did.
Oh yeah,
and
it's an amazing feat. I mean, it's OG. It's pre-airbrush days. He did the caution stripes and everything. I mean, it's. Yep. I mean, there's a reason he kept it. Like, and he kept it for all these years. It's beautiful and it's nostalgic, man, from the old days.
Back in the day when we had metal minis.
Yeah, we had to paint, using GW paints only, yellow stripes over black. Metal.
Uphill both ways.
Yeah, literally.
It was the worst.
It was brutal.
But so we can talk about it in a little while after Tabletop Market Watch, but I actually played 2 games of 40K over the weekend.
I heard EJ was involved.
Oh, did I tell you that or did he tell you that?
He told me.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. Well, you obviously know the list he was running.
Yeah.
What's an EJ cost these days?
If you have to ask, you can't afford it.
Can't afford it.
It's true. God damn it. I'm glad you picked up on that.
That's that OG. Yeah, that was good times. So yeah, we actually got a lot of hobby news in general. I mean, all sorts of stuff. Some stuff just happened before we came on the podcast with a new update to Astartes 4. I'll let you and Haspil take that one away here in a few. But we do have some new releases from Games Workshop coming out next week. So the General's Handbook for 2019 will be out. It's $35. And correct me if I'm wrong, Wyatt, I think they said it was going to be like 2 actual books. Like the points book is going to be like a little pamphlet in the back or something. Did I read that right?
The General's Handbook?
Yeah.
I cannot fact check you on that.
I swear I read that, but I have not been able to find it again.
Sometimes they do that though, right? Like they'll say something on like a Facebook post or a Twitter post, but it's not in any of their Warhammer community articles, and you can't track it down.
Yeah, whatever. I reserve the right to backpedal at all times. 50% accuracy on this one, folks. And there's also the Warlord edition, which looks to have all sorts of bells and whistles if you're really into that AOS. There's all sorts of game aids in there, which I'm going to have to resist the urge to actually buy because I don't know. I feel like it's $75 and it looks super functional, but I just don't think I get my $75 worth of money out of it personally.
Oh,
obviously,
okay.
What's that?
So it says that it will be split into 2 parts. One is all of the rules related thingies.
Uh-huh.
And then it says for your list writing convenience, all the new pitched battle profiles will be printed separately in a booklet of their own, including the latest points adjustments, plus profiles for a number of compendium units, unless spells and terrain.
That's cool. I wonder if they'll actually roll that out for the chapter approved book in December for 40K.
God, I wish. That'd be so great.
It would. That would be super dope. I would be smitten with a, like in Titanicus, because I know everybody has bought the Grandmaster's edition, opened it up, looked at the rule book, then put it back on the shelf. But I know when you looked at the rule book, there was those 2 rules inserts in there that you could pull out and put in the back of your book. Like if they did that with the points values, that would be dope because then you can be writing your list, flip it through your book, and have your little pull out points list right there.
That would be nice.
So dope. But I digress.
Make a good building app. That's a thing.
Yeah. Well, we'll get there. Rome wasn't built in a day, but it was sacked in a night.
It was.
So $75 for the Warlord edition. Those are the only releases. I mean, there's some Lord of Rings, Middle Earth strategy battle stuff coming out, and some books and different things. I don't have the exact list on all that, but that will all be going up for pre-order at the same time. Gluten-free gut check. Bold prediction time. Last week, I said my call was General's Handbook the week after. It came out a week early than what I predicted. So now I'm going to flip-flop and say Apocalypse is going to be next week's pre-order. Fingers crossed. I've never enjoyed a game of Apocalypse. Not once, not ever. I love Apocalypse. Please come back. And please come back.
I like Apocalypse for like the first 2 hours, and then I stopped caring about Apocalypse.
So I think maybe one of the ways that, and this always sounds impossible at first. So like when I run these games, which I really hope to run a game of Apocalypse here locally when it happens, is I found the best way and to keep everybody motivated is to do 30-minute turns, the whole turn. You're moving, you're shooting, you're everything. 30 minutes, you do 2 full rounds of that for both sides, right? And we're all used to playing chess clocks now. 30 minutes really isn't outside of the realm of, like realism right now. Yeah. And I think you could probably sell your groups pretty well on it. Trust me, it works. It's awesome. It keeps people focused and in the game. Then and everybody helps everybody else. Like, hey, let me roll these dice. Hey, you're done with your thing. Okay, let me do this. And then you just look across the table at your opponent or whomever and just be like, I'm going to do this. And then, you just kind of catch people's attention and just move kind of quick. But it keeps people engaged. It's really awesome. Break for lunch, finish up the last, do 2 more rounds of that. And then boom, come up with some sort of way to score the match or score the battle, like objectives or something.
Wasn't the scuttlebutt on Apocalypse? There's supposed to be sort of like streamlining the experience for like each unit. Like each unit is simplified compared to what it used to be. So you don't have like a billion dice to roll every single turn.
They did say something about that. And there was what looked to be big packs of data cards you could buy. The larger one, the larger format ones, not the new AOS 2.0 style. Mm-hmm. So there may be a little bit of like relearning your rules, which I'm on the fence. I'm not going to poo-poo it without getting more information and checking it out at least first. There is some of that, and they also said like damage would be resolved at the end of the turn, so everybody would have a chance to, if you spend all that money hobbying up a big Titan, everybody just doesn't deep strike next to it and blow it up, and you're like, great, cool, thanks guys. Like, ask me how every game of Apocalypse has always gone, but.
That's interesting. So that's something people talked about would be cool in 40K, right?
Yeah.
But how do you track that? How do you isn't that a lot of additional tracking?
What do you mean?
You're tracking damage for an entire turn or an entire shooting phase in a game like Apocalypse scale. Some of those games are like fucking 1 billion points versus 1 billion points. A lot of things are happening. So you're saying like if I shoot into a squad of 20 guys and kill 19 of them, like they're not 19 guys until the end of the battle round? They're not one guy.
Or maybe it's for, certain class or higher. I don't know.
I think that second option would make a lot of sense for like super heavy tanks and knights and titans and things like that. But I feel like having to do it for smaller stuff is a bit much. As
I think about it, I talk myself out of it for 40K. Like, it seems like a great Apocalypse rule.
Yeah, because it sounds like if you're saying that they're going to change the way the units work, it could be an easy abstraction thing that they pull from another war game where units are full strength, half strength, or dead.
That would make more sense, because with the last edition of Apocalypse, I think it was 6th or 5th even. I think it was 5th. You would literally just pick up your vehicles. Like if it was like whatever, then you would ignore damage until it was destroyed, and then you would pick up the wreckage off the table. So it just wasn't cluttered.
Yeah, and if they did like an infantry unit, instead of it being like one wound per dude, they were like, this unit has X number of wounds, and so like the whole unit is just there until you chew through those wounds and the whole unit is removed.
Right. And it's like if you play games like Ancients or Napoleonics or whatever, where you have massive amounts of troops on, trays, and usually these games are played at like 9mm or whatever, you're not counting like, oh, there's 12 guys on this base, so therefore you chew through 12 guys. Units are generally at full strength, at half strength, or gone.
Yeah, and that makes a lot of sense for Apocalypse, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. So that'd be cool to see. So I'm going to flip flop that prediction to next week, and then July 4th week, all the specialist game stuff. Hopefully we'll see some Middle Earth strategy battle, some Warhammer Underworlds, the new Titanicus stuff, the Angry Turtle as he's being called, or maybe it was Flaming Turtle, the Porphyrion, and the new character cards and dice, I think. And dice, yes. Final answer. After that, sky's pretty much the limit. Could be Chaos Knights, could be a lot of different things in different orders, but either way. Oh, and Sylvaneth in there somewhere. Please.
Yeah.
Please.
And Kenny had to do terrible things to get that Chaos Knight Codex. I'm sure he wants payment for those services.
I'm ready for them to deliver on their end of the deal here. I mean, I've got the doctor's bills and the medications to prove it.
The amount of penicillin you had to take.
Oh, it's fucking me up. That got dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, it did.
You take penicillin. Anyways, moving on. So there's been, I guess, also we know that Warhammer Day on the 29th? So at stores across the globe, you'll be able to go into GW stores and pick up some new exclusives, including the first plastic Sisters of Battle for the upcoming line. That looks pretty neat. I imagine she's going to be $35. There was some reverse math we could do to figure out how much the Squad of Sisters is going to be when they come out because of their giveaway, and it looks like they're going to be $60 for the plastic squad when it does hit. Also, is that pop unpainted, or I guess just primed
$60 for 10 sisters?
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
That's not bad for GW prices.
I mean, it's Primaris pricing basically.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a lot cheaper than they are now.
Yeah, because aren't they 80 in metal?
Yeah, they're at least 80 now. At least.
I'm glad I bought some because I knew that like when the plastic stuff came out, the metal ones would be like collector's items. So I got like one of each unit in the I bought them like last year, but I bought like one of each unit in the metal just so I could have them as like a collector's item.
Nice.
So that would be cool. And then I'm sure a lot of people are going to be picking up that primered pop.
Yeah, the unpainted Funko Pop. Yep. And those will be available online too. At least GW said, they have a limited quantity, but they said you can get them. If you don't have a GW store local, you can get them online.
Mm-hmm.
That is true. I think they said something like that. It might not be the same week, but somewhere in there too. That should definitely happen. And what was the other piece of? The only thing I have left. Oh, the GW gave out a $5 million bonus spread across the board to all its employees for remember their fiscal year just ended. Was it May 31st? So we're in
every employee. Every employee.
Every employer.
Yeah,
I think
that's some good profit sharing, man. That's
not on every employee.
Yeah, I was about to say, Wyatt, can you confirm?
Yeah, not every employee. They don't really count the on-call guys as like regulars. So like the managers, I believe, got one. It depends though. Like I'm not 100% on it.
Well, I mean, I'm not shaming GW for it. I was just curious. Like, Wyatt, you holding that on me?
Nah. I would definitely have said something if I got some random bonus. I would have been like, "Hells yeah, dude! Let's keep selling models. Sell them fucking contrast paints.
Contrast.
That a bonus next year. No, I didn't get shit.
Well, keep hang in there, kitten." So that's all I got for Tabletop Market Watch. Did you guys have any new developments out there?
Mike, didn't you have something exciting for us?
Well, like board game wise, before we could jump into the E3 stuff, the new like Memoir 44 air game came out, so that's kind of cool. For those of us who like Memoir 44 and the Commands and Colors battle system, which is battle lore stuff like that, very very solid system, and that just came out. It's like an Air Force type game. I have it held at...
What era is it again?
This is World War II. World War II, like Air Force air flying game based on the Command and Colors system, which is an awesome system. It's really, really good. Battlelore uses it. The Red Alert Fleet game uses it, which I need to pick up still.
Oh, that's awesome.
That does sound cool.
So, and then of course we had... Astartes Part 4 came out like right before, like this evening, like right before we started.
This afternoon.
And it is, 2 minutes of awesomeness.
They're all very well done.
And then we had a lot to geek out with like the E3 stuff that dropped. Baldur's Gate 3, obviously. I can't even count. I don't even know how much time I've spent on Baldur's Gate 1 and 2.
Those are classics.
And the thing is, I've rebought them like a dozen times because every time they put out like the enhanced edition or whatever for like the iPad or on Steam or whatever, I wind up rebuying it going, oh man, I'm going to play through this. And then I never do because I don't have time. So, but if I had time, I have them. So Baldur's Gate 3 will probably be one of those that I pick up and it'll just sit on my computer forever. Unplayed, but it looked awesome. It didn't show any gameplay footage. It was just basically cutscene stuff, but it was all about hype. And then the big hype trailer was Cyberpunk 2077. Oh, yes. I can't talk. Teased Keanu Reeves as Johnny Silverhand, which is interesting because
there's some lore implications there.
Yeah, there's some serious lore implications, and I don't want to speculate too much because it might spoil stuff, but I'll just say that like Johnny Silverhand is not in 2077. It's like fourth corporate war era stuff.
Somebody else mentioned that like during the trailer, he kind of flickers or glitches.
Oh.
So maybe it's
that could be very cool.
But I mean, like, there's lots of speculation, so it's definitely interesting that he's Johnny Silverhands or supposed to be.
And he was like the lead singer of this band called Samurai, and he totally uses that call out.
Wake up, Samurai.
Yeah, so that was really, really cool. And then Wyatt, you were telling me about some game that the Dark Souls people paired.
Yeah, so the company FromSoft Entertainment, they make Dark Souls, Bloodborne, and recently Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. The creator of Dark Souls, Hidetaka Miyazaki, partnered with George R.R. Martin to create a new game called Elden Ring. And you can find the trailer online now. That was announced at E3 during the Microsoft Expo. And it is very hype, very cool. So I know there's lots of people that are big Dark Souls fans, including myself. And this trailer just reeks of Dark Souls going back to form. And very, very exciting that George R.R. is a creative influence.
Probably have his little narrative development in there, like
we're unsure how he's involved just yet, since we don't have any credits or anything for the game. But if you watch the trailer, the dialogue of the bodiless narrator during the teaser trailer, it's very much so that trademark George R. Martin fantasy dialogue full of epicness and gravitas.
Yeah, I immediately sent that link over to Bonet, my lady, so she can clear her calendar for next year.
Oh, yeah.
And also Fallout. Obviously, me and Wyatt play Fallout like crazy. Somebody in chat already asked, what about that Battle Royale in Fallout 76? So
okay.
I popped 16 boners during during that Bethesda press conference. It was pretty cool. It was interesting to see Todd Howard come up and instantly talk about like their failings, and what they've done since, and even hilariously commented on how, which I like because me and Wyatt say this stuff because we're raid life all day, every day. And he came out and said, we created this open world apocalyptic scenario where you can literally do anything, and everyone wanted to just give each other presents and wave at each other. And he's saying it all funny and charismatically, but I'm like in there, I can see the sarcasm. He's just
in his eyes, how like
disappointed.
There should have been like a bump noise, like when he said that.
He was super disappointed, and every change they've made to the game platform has been toward that direction. Which fine, if that's what the player base wants. But they did roll out with this new thing called Battle Royale for the new Nuclear Winter expansion that's coming out for the rest of the year. They're giving us a sneak peek, and it's basically PUBG for Fallout with a complete rebalancing of how guns and damage is done. So it's a lot more balanced, a little bit more traditional FPS, no VATS locking, auto aim stuff. So you are basically in a, big ass, battle royale game scenario and Fallout, right? And it is a little bit easier to play. I've played a few matches since we last talked, Wyatt, and it's not nearly as weird as, it would be if you were playing the normal adventure mode. It's definitely a little more streamlined. It's cool. Don't get it twisted, but I could just play PUBG. So somebody asked in the chat, I'm not really sold on queuing up for 4 minutes to run into a Fallout world and shoot people for a while. And then, without my skill tree and armor that I've painstakingly collected. So, but I'm hype on all the other content. So Fallout's not dead. I got things to talk to you about tonight, Wyatt. I figured out ways to get wanted and bring that raid life back.
Excite.
And then one last thing, I can't believe I forgot to mention it. Battletech, the online game, which is excellent, supreme game, released DLC to add urban environments to the game and urban tech. I have not had a chance to even play it yet, but I did download it. So hopefully I will play it before next week and I'll be able to give you guys some kind of review. But I can already tell you what it's going to be because I adore that game. So, so it's probably going to be that it's pretty good. And I still haven't gotten that rogue tech stuff, Wyatt, that you were talking about.
Oh, that's like the real game. Like you need to really get into rogue tech.
I literally do not have time. If I have like a half hour a day, that's it.
Like you literally don't have time?
Literally do not have time.
I heard the cutscenes for that new Battletech were directed in by J.J. Abrams.
Oh.
Well, as long as he's directing them and not writing them, he's a good director. Guy has a great eye. He just can't tell stories worth a damn.
Speaking of, have you looked any more into Disneyland Star Wars?
I have not. I'm sorry.
I've seen bits and pieces there. Like, I guess like now that it's sort of open, there's more and more content being produced about people going and seeing all this stuff. And man, just from like a pure like fan perspective, I want to go. Like the more I see, the more I actually want to go and have the whole experience and just be a kid for a day in Star Wars land. Like it just looks so cool.
I'll eventually go to the one in Orlando because my entire family lives in Florida. So
yeah.
So I'll go to visit and they'll be like, we're going to Star Wars land. And I'll be like, okay, yay. All right.
I might wait until next year because their resort hotel that's supposed to be like a Star Wars space station that you get to stay in a room at, and it's like 100% immersive. They finished building that and opening it this fall.
Oh yeah, well that would be the way to go.
Yes, like the park is open in both locations, but the resort where you get to stay in the Star Wars rooms and all that is this fall. So I'll probably go like next year during
like I feel like I would almost have to go alone to that because I just don't see how I could be like buy into the whole immersiveness if I was with my wife or with my mom.
You're telling me that you and me couldn't make that work? Me as a Wookiee, you as Han Solo?
Oh no, well we could make it work, but you really see like Penny like getting into it and
yeah, we'd have to be the boys. Go and like
she'd be like, I'm gonna role play a tourist that's going to a theme park on your planet.
They actually did pass a rule after the grand opening that like you can wear costume type stuff but no full body costumes.
Yeah, because they have to differentiate like who's an actual employee of the park.
I think they let like small children get a pass.
I think that's probably a mistake on their part, but I can understand why they did it. I mean, Universal doesn't care. If I want to throw on robes and show up at Harry Potter World and be a Death Eater, I can. So
I think you still can wear like costumes. It's just you can't like you can't wear a full body where your head and face.
You can't wear one of those movie quality Stormtrooper outfits because their actors are probably wearing those, and now it's impossible.
Or probably, and that makes sense. I can completely understand why Disney would do that. Oh, and speaking of Star Wars, that's right. They showed the new Jedi Fallen Order
Yeah.
console game. This is just me, and I'm trying not. This is gonna come across like I'm being salty, right? That I don't like Star Wars. I was underwhelmed. I saw it and went, "This looks like a reskinned Force Unleashed." It didn't look new. It looked like an Xbox game from 3 years ago.
Do we know how early in the dev cycle it is?
I don't know that. So it could have been alpha for all I know.
Yeah.
But there were two things that it looked like. It looked like it was an old game that was reskinned. And then two, I hope story-wise they explain something, because that Jedi, I know he's like a survivor from Order 66 and everything. He's very violent. He acts a lot like a Sith.
Yeah.
And just the gameplay clips they showed, I was like,
you
really,
imagine
dude?
that's due to, like him surviving Order 66 as a small child and having to grow up in a world where he has to, look over a shoulder and sleep with one eye open and be kind of a scruffy nerf herder to be able to, keep his low profile. And so he's just he doesn't have the rigid Jedi training to keep his emotions in check.
That could work. I'm down with that.
The chat says he's actually not a Jedi. He's just a guy who never finished the program, basically.
Oh, okay. Well, that explains some of the stuff then.
Or could it also be, isn't it like I'm not a Star Wars expert, right? At all. But with balance in the Force, the lower the population of Force wielders gets, isn't the more tenuous and flip-floppy the balance? Like, if you're down to one Jedi, where's the balance? If there's nobody else in the galaxy, no Sith, nobody else, like, isn't he gonna have to be like equally bad and good?
I have no idea.
Like, because that's like, I'm just wondering, I'm just like getting into it, like just trying to think.
I could answer that using EU stuff, but that doesn't exist anymore. Womp womp.
Oh, so I'm just like wondering if like now he's rolling around and like half the Jedis are gone and like he's like he's unsure of like the galactic balance is pulling him left and right. I don't know. I'm trying to narrative away.
I mean, at the end of the day, the Force is basically a plot device, so it could really be whatever they want it to be.
I mean, I was trying to give it more credit than that, but
it's midichlorians, man. You heard them say it.
Sci-fi, bro. It's hardcore sci-fi.
It's little bugs.
Soft. Soft. Very soft. Well, we've got some events coming up to talk about. I think Kenny wanted to some stuff out.
Well, I mean, we got lots of things going on. Obviously, we had Chris Menson on last week, and he mentioned War Chief Games, their gym-style 40K clubhouse up in Irvine. We're going to be there at an invitational this weekend, and I'll be filming it, West Coast Guerrilla style. I'll do my 3-piece, all 3 of my games, and we'll put it out on the Long War as a piece of, membership content, and it'll be the full tournament coverage. So that's happening this weekend. At the same time, the Gentleman's GT is happening in Las Vegas this weekend. We got people flying in. Don Hooson, who's going to be a guest tonight, we're going to be doing an interview with him in a little while. He'll be there, rocking his new list he's going to be talking about in this interview. It's pretty interesting, so stay tuned for that. Following up, in July, we have the Slaughterfest GT, which we've been promoting a little bit. There's only 12 tickets left, guys. Like, it's almost sold out. It is a major GT now. So if you have any interest in going up to a casino in Southern California in July and having a good old time with your friends and maybe a slightly more adult interaction, more like a mini LVO, that might be the event for you. And last but not least, LVO. We didn't get a chance to talk about it last week, but it went on sale and sold out in just a few minutes. So 800 tickets were sold to the singles championship event, which beats last year's record. It was the largest singles 40K event in the history of the world last year. Then the year before that, it was the largest event in the history of the world too. So every year they've redefined the largest event in history. And this year is no different. It's 800. And the Long War doubles tickets are on sale. As of last week, only 52 tickets had been sold. Last year, we did over 100 teams. So there's still plenty of room. But, it will fill up. So you guys might want to think about getting your tickets ASAP and getting on that wait list for the championships if you haven't.
Yeah, it's always a good idea to get on the wait list.
Mm-hmm. Just because.
Well, there's always people that don't show up.
No, they
Yes.
said, they even said that normally you can expect 10% drop. They, because of their event and the location, the travel, and people booking it a year in advance, they say for them it's more like 15, 18% drops before the first round. So as long as you're on that wait list, you should be fine.
Should be. Unless it, everybody else has that idea.
Well, I mean, so don't hesitate. So stop procrastinating.
Yeah, seriously.
It's going to be a good time. And we'll be there. Like, I'll be there. I'm going to do my best to make sure Rob goes again. Fuck, for all I know, Mike will be there.
We need a long war catapult system.
You would do a catapult, but not fly.
Oh, it's completely different.
Yeah, dude. Just get yourself a first class ticket. Buy it a few months out so it's not expensive. I'm telling you, it's the best way to fly.
There's no good way to fly.
Until you're on an airplane with him when admittedly slightly rougher than normal turbulence appears.
So, Rob, would it make you feel any better if I said that every time I get on an airplane, I resign myself to the fact that if it were to crash, that I'm going down with that airplane?
No matter what.
You could at least get out of the airplane.
Ugh. Don't you normie shame me.
Oh, he will. He will do it a lot. Don't worry.
Nah, I don't know. I'm just a big wuss. What can I say?
Hopefully
we
we
all
can
got our
get,
thing.
hey, maybe we'll get Rob to drive out. We'll see, man. He likes, for some reason he likes driving. I don't know why.
Maybe make some stops along the way. Go see Haspil.
In the Heat of the Night mixtape.
Yeah, we see. all in the Heat of the Night mixtape.
Ridiculous. All right. Speaking of events, we had there were 6 big tournaments over the weekend. So we got 6 new. Well, a couple are actually new. 2 of them are from previous, but 6 new undefeated Warhammer 40K lists in June. We'll run them down real quick before we jump into that interview.
Yeah. So we have the Beef and Wing Brawl. I believe we talked a little bit about this last week. So it's a chaos list. It's got some demons. It's got an interesting mixed detachment of different types of demons, which is pretty clutch. The Master Card of Chaos, which is the Supreme Command of Ahriman, and 2 Demon Princes of Sneech, as well as a big old brick of Blightlord Terminators, which is an interesting choice. First place at the Hooded Goblin GT.
Go back one step. So he's running a Supreme Command broken detachment with Death Guard Terminators. Yeah.
Is that a Supreme Command? No, it's 1 HQ and elites and 2 Foul Blight Spawn. So it's a
okay.
Vanguard.
It's a Vanguard. Okay, cool. No, that's awesome. Yeah, 10 Blightlord Terminators. Actually, it's funny that was in that list. That's a unit that Don Hooson made very popular last year at Bay Area Open when he won it. And then that swept the nation by storm. People started realizing how good that unit was. And it's awesome to see here we are a year later and people are winning GTs with it, man.
Oh, yeah. So, yeah, the Hooded Goblin GT is a Dark Eldar first place. It is.
This one's a little different. I like this one.
Yeah, it's a mono Dark Eldar, which you don't see a lot. We are seeing more single book armies pop up because of the incentive of the Best in Faction award at these GTs, which is pretty cool to see. And this is not even a Dark Eldar list that you normally see a lot. Most of the time you see the very plug and play Prophets of Flesh army, but this is a lot of just Cabal stuff. So he's got a Spearhead with your super cheap Archon, triple Ravagers with the old Disintegrator cannons on there. Super solid choice. Going into a couple of Flyers. So he's got 2 Razorwing jet fighters in that detachment as well. Then a battalion, which is the Cursed Blade Witch Cult. A couple of Succubus choices, triple unit of Witch. Then he's got a 3rd battalion, which is another Cabal of the Flayed Skull. 2 Archons this time, one of which is kitted out a bit more. He's probably the go-getter Archon that goes out and does stuff with the Cabalite Warriors. And he's got a full 6 units of Cabalite Warriors and Venoms and Raiders for them to ride in. So lots and lots of Venoms.
Oh, it's an OG. That's an OG fucking Dark Elder list.
And then he's got some models you haven't seen in a long time. 2 units of Mandrakes, which I have been thinking about because not only do I really like the Mandrake models, but they do some cool, interesting stuff. So it's nice to see somebody actually playing those.
And win.
Yeah, and win first place, which is really cool. So I don't know. I have a box of Mandrakes sitting on my desk right now. I might put them together and paint them. See what they can do. Let's see. The Amiable Bright Kelowna GT. An Orc player got first place in that. And let's see what he's got.
Another interesting list, actually.
Yeah. So starting off with an Evil Sons Battalion. War Boss on Warbike with the Killaclaw, which is a solid pick. Weird Boy with the Jump. Just about everybody has those. 3 units of Boys. A 2nd Battalion, which is Bad Moons. And he's got a Big Mech with Shock Attack Gun. 3 units of Gretchen for that sweet Gretchen shield ability. Big unit of Ludas and a Wasbomb Blast Jet, which you don't see a lot of. And 3rd Battalion, Bad Moons again, with 2 Weird Boys, 3 more unit of Gretchen, and 2 Daka Jets.
That 2nd Battalion red was the Dreadwog from Vigilus, so he's going to be doing that double shooty.
Yes, very cool.
So what the Ludas can shoot twice?
Any of the specific guns, right? I forget. Oh, where's my book? Oh, I don't have my Vigilus book near me. I know the Big Max can.
I mean,
it's probably that Shock Attack Gun is pretty nice.
Well, I mean, it's a good list. It's got the boys, it's got the ass, it's got the guns, it's got some flyers. That's real cool, man. Hell yeah.
Yeah. I like seeing Orcs do well. Always warms my heart a little bit. War in the Berg is a first place Chaos win. And let's see what he's got. Starting off with the Supreme Command of Ahriman, a Sorcerer, and wait, hold on.
No,
this
right.
Format is a bit messed up. So he's got an Ahriman, a Master of Executions, and a Sorcerer, it looks like. Then he's got Mortarion in there as well.
What's the Legion on the Master of Execution?
World Eater's Mark of Corn.
So he's got a mixed Legion here.
Yeah, so 1,000 Suns, World Eaters, and Crimson Slaughter for the Sorcerer there.
Interesting.
Which one's Crimson Slaughter again?
Crimson Slaughter fuck. Man, you know what? I was just looking at them.
Red Corsairs is the one where you can move in advance, right?
Yeah.
Or advance in charge.
God, I don't know. I don't know what the Crimson Slaughter is.
Well, the Chaos Renegades, like generic Chaos Renegades and the Chaos Space Marine Codex have advance in charge.
It doesn't matter what they have because it's a broken Legion, so they can't actually
that's true. There's no benefit
from
their
Legion, their innate Legion trait. Just has access to the stratagems.
Mm-hmm. True
So,
that.
what else did he have besides that? So that's Supreme Command. Interesting.
Yeah.
With a Mortarion.
Yeah, with the Mortarion in there.
So totally mixed up. Yep.
Yeah. Battalion Detachment of Chaos Demons. This one is also mixed. We've got a Poxbringer, the Contorted Epitome, and then a unit of Horrors and 2 units of Plague Bearers. And a second Supreme Command detachment of the Flawless Host with the Soul Forged Pack Specialist Detachment and 3 Lord Discordants on Hellstalkers.
What?
Yeah, go figure.
Oh, yeah.
Solid, though.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Yep. Charging in, doing all the things.
After that, we have Terracon, also a Dark Eldar win. Looks to be a similar type list, but it does have some different stuff in there. So we've got a Cabal of the Obsidian Rose, 2 Archons, 4 units of Cabalite Warriors, and 3 Venoms. Then we have a battalion Cabal of the Blackheart with the Archon and Drazar, which I haven't seen in a long time.
That's your guy.
But he brought Drazar, which is pretty cool. 3 more units of Cabalite Warriors, 3 Ravagers, 3 Raiders, and then an air-wing detachment of Craft World Crimson Hunter Exarch Flyers.
Oh, so it's not totally Dark Eldar.
Yeah, so this would be an Eldari faction scoring for the ITC because of that air-wing detachment.
Yeah. Yep. So it makes sense why it's good.
Then we have Slag Con, an Imperium first place. Looks like some IG to start off. We've got the Emperor's Fist Tank Company Specialist Detachment, 3 tank commanders, 3 infantry squads, a brick of Bulgrins, Ministorum Priest, and 2 Astropaths.
We split up the Bulgrins, 4 brute shields, 5 slab shields.
Yeah, for the flexibility there, which is nice. Then
Which
we
is
have
it's just 3 up now, right? You can't go any lower. What was the FAQ on that one for the invol?
Is it all invols or was it specifically for Imperial Guard? Because I didn't.
Let me double check.
Yeah, I didn't check the Imperial Guard because I don't play them.
Yeah, I'll pull it up.
All right. So while he's looking at that, we have a 2nd battalion of Cadians. It's the old Loyal 32 with some heavy weapons squads, very strong, and then a battalion of Blood Angels to finish it out. 2 Smash Captains, a unit of Intercessors, 2 Scout Squads, and 85 points left over for an Assassin.
It's got all the things twice.
Yeah, Intercessors are seeing more play, which I kind of like. They're another one of those basic units that people kind of.
Intercessors are incredible for their points.
Oh yeah,
they're basically a scout on crack. So the FAQ, so you add 2 to the armor save, but on invol saves are not effective, so you can't get it down to the 2 like you used to be able to.
I think off the top of my head, the only Imperium unit I can think of that has a 2-up invol save is a unit of Fulgurite Priests that has killed another unit in close combat and then has to be within 6 inches of an objective to use a stratagem. Yeah. And you can get a 2-up invol save on those guys.
Yeah, I mean, they're still good. I mean, if you're seeing them come back and win in tournaments, not protecting Castellans, then there's definitely something to that.
Yeah. That makes me happy.
Yeah, there was a handful of Imperium players at Bay Area Open that were running the good old grip of Bulgrins.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure Brandon Grant had him in his army.
Yeah.
He's definitely doing some sort of this list here because he took the Astro Pass, which is the cheapy way to get a psychic power.
Yeah, that's how you get that power that can get their invulnerable to, or their save to a 3, right?
Or you could throw it on a tank commander because you get the +1. You can do the -1 to hit or the +1 save in general.
Yeah, so it's super flexible.
Yeah.
Lots of great lists.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm pretty stoked. You can definitely see. I mean, sure, Chaos and Chaos Demons.
Chaos only made 2 entries on the list. Eldari also made 2 entries on the list.
But we're definitely seeing a kind of a departure from the norm where you could see all this Disintegrator spam. Some of these lists we saw like at the start of 8th for Dark Eldar are kind of starting to come back around. I mean, some of these Dark Eldar lists would just shred armor.
Oh, it's awesome. I mean, there's definitely a new trend here. I love it. Strong. I mean, yeah, okay. Chaos is a super faction. Like, it's one of the best. You know, Imperium, one of the other bests, right? But Imperium only made an entry once on this list.
Mm-hmm.
So that's interesting. It's good metrics to track. I like hearing this stuff.
Yeah, the Imperium is still very strong as one of the 3 superpowers, but I've been seeing them sort of dip in the rankings.
I mean, they won Bay Area Open.
Yep.
Yeah, but I mean, it's that Jeff's list was not the Imperium list that we're thinking of.
Right.
No.
Not even close. Like his is really different in a cool way, but it's definitely not the plug and play Imperium list that we've been seeing kind of run rampant.
Which is why we've seen the down, because now that it's not the plug and play easy button, this works exactly like this. It's people are trying new things, which every time you nerf something, so like, even though I said earlier that I vastly prefer people to games to buff things into balance, some things have to be nerfed, right? Like you can't just say we're never going to nerf something. And the cool thing is when you do nerf things that are universally a trend, you give us an opportunity as a player base to re-innovate and go back to scheming and come up with something brand new. And we're kind of in that phase right now. And it's exciting to see these lists.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of this is harkening back to the beginning of the 8th. I mean, when was the last time besides the last 2 weeks that you saw take commanders hitting the tabletop, like Dark Eldar spam? It's just,
I would say that overall, at least in the West Coast meta, a lot of vehicles are being put on the table again now that the big bad bogeyman of the Castellan isn't there anymore, which is nice because when you have an entire meta built around being able to fight one model, it can become a really boring, stale meta that's fun.
And now it got new stuff, like Don Hooson's 12 model list that's sweeping the nation by storm.
Yeah.
Yeah. People like Don, people like Jeff that are, make moves with these, like Custodes, Death Guard, obviously. That's just what keeps these visionaries or, trendsetters. That's what keeps pushing the hobby forward and keeping it fresh, along with, the stuff that GW does and the playtesting groups and stuff. But it's these guys that really, or even to an extent, some of the stuff Jim Vessel was doing with the undivided chaos, so to speak, demons. It's just really cool to see. And that's just, I don't want to see a bunch of lists that are all the same shit. I want to see these three guys and other folks that are really innovative. Like even with Kenny's mono chaos, when was the last time you saw CSM on the board? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, it makes me so happy. Yeah. And we are going to have an interview here in just a few minutes with Don, and we're going to talk about his mono list. If you guys are curious about this 12 model list I keep talking about, somebody in your area is building one right now. I promise you. It's everywhere.
Yep. I played against it twice on Saturday.
So in as many weeks, 3 weeks, we've had the best 40K player in the world today on the show. And now we're going to have the number one Chaos Space Marine player in the world on the show here in a minute. Now, it is pre-recorded content. We took the interview yesterday late night. We're going to slide it in. So maybe next time we'll have him on the show and he can answer questions live as they're coming out. But I think you guys are going to definitely want to stay tuned for this interview because he is going to be revealing where the list is going and what changes have occurred to the 12 model list. And let me, this is my only spoiler right here. There are 3 models that are particularly grindy to paint in the 12 model list that if you haven't bought them yet, maybe you want to hear this next bit and maybe you don't need to buy them.
Ooh, very interesting. I think I know exactly which ones you're talking about.
All right. So we're going to break for that interview and we'll be right back. Joined tonight by the legendary Don Hooson, the mono build chaos purveyor of many tournament victories, known for Death Guard last year, now known for the Purge. How you doing tonight?
I'm doing good.
So I got to talk to you at 2 tournaments locally very recently. In both tournaments, you blew my mind. Purged army list with very low model counts, and you did really well at both events. And you top 8'd at Bay Area Open, narrowly losing title from last year's epic victory. Let's talk about why the Purge is so amazing and how you're kind of one of the innovators that's kind of creating this phenomenon that's sweeping the nation. I'm seeing people build this list on every social media platform I'm on right now. So real quick for everyone at home who's like, what the hell is a Purge? Break that shit down.
All right. The Purge is one of the new Renegade chapters. They have to be Nurgle. And what they have the ability of is their trait is Every character, Hellbrute, infantry, or biker can reroll any hit rolls, not just fail, but any hit rolls against any unit that has suffered a wound earlier in that player turn. That is a tremendous boon. They also have a wonderful stratagem that allows them to fire one of their units into an enemy unit that's within an inch of one of your friendly units. Meaning, even if they're in combat and think they're safe from being shot, you can just unload into them. You just have the slight downside that if you roll natural 1, you hit your own guy with one of the things.
Worth it.
But otherwise, you can just clear them out.
Especially once we go over your list, you'll see why that's not a big deal.
Yep. So the list, it's comprised of a Vanguard, a Spearhead, and an Air Wing. This is the one I took to BAO. So out of that, I have 3 of the Lord Squadrons on Hellstalkers with autocannon and a Toxin Injector. I have 3 Contemptor Dreadnoughts with double Butcher Cannon, Havoc Launcher. And I have 3 of the Hellforged Aerodeos with the Butcher Cannon Rays, Twin Heavy Bolters, and Greater Havoc Launchers. And then the weird part in there was the 3 Helldrakes with 2 of them had Bale Flamers, 1 had a Hades autocannon. And the Hades autocannon was more so due to points, just to make sure I could fit everything. But it actually turned out to be very, very useful.
That is impressive. No, you were running around very open with these 3 Helldrakes, making me so happy to be a cast. I ran Trip Helldrakes for like the first 7 months of this edition, and I loved every second of it. And I'm so glad. But there wasn't too much for them. There's other things that mattered more. And in your list, I instantly saw it on the table with these 12 models that count them, guys. That's 12 models, right? I saw these 3 Helldrakes on the table. I was like, yo, that's a great choice.
Yep, they're super fast. They tie things down. They can jump behind lines, murder characters. They're so good at doing all that. They are not the Helldrakes from 6th edition, 7th edition, where they just picked up entire squads. They're not that Helldrake anymore.
They don't kill things like they used to. Right? They're not like, I'm a vector strike this, take out 10 guys. That's not what they do. They're like a demon engine that is okay at killing things, but it moves 30 fucking inches.
Yep. And they were surprisingly durable. People would try to, dedicate 1 unit to firing at them. And it's like, all right, they took 7 damage. It has 5 left.
Yeah, 12 wounds, 3 up, 5 up, and brings back a wound every turn.
Yep. Those things were the linchpin in several of my games. They're so good.
To be happy to hear as a Chaos player. Man, that's sick. So, okay, it's a crazy list. 12 models. Obvious firepower. I mean, tons of bullets. We know that the Purge can trigger these incredible rerolls. They're not forced to be hugging one guy like Robbie G in the middle of the table, giving you a lot more tactical flexibility. Let's talk about how you did at Bay Area Open. What your record was, what you encountered difficulties with, and do you think that's going to be enough information moving forward to change the list, or do you think that maybe you could have beaten them in different deployment or something?
So I did wind up 4th overall out of 150 people that were there with a record of 6-2. The 2 players that I lost to were both running very, very similar Custodes lists. And the biggest reason why I flopped with both of those was I got really greedy with splitting my shots and not killing units. Custodes, even if they have 1 wound left on their tanks, they're still going to blow you off the table. They are very, very accurate and very strong.
So you were being like super efficient, trying to just math it out, and you wanted your cake and you wanted to eat it too, and that got in you trouble basically.
Yeah.
You didn't want to waste shots. That's intelligent play at the top level. Sure. And hindsight's 2020. You got 2 matches to figure that out. But that's crazy that it's the same type of list both times, showing potential weakness in matchup for you. It's something that you feel like you could overcome in the future.
Oh, definitely.
Makes me happy to hear because I'm like, oh, man, I don't want to hear any weaknesses for this list. But which is interesting. Custodes has been kind of a tricky army for me to play against lately, too. I finally got my first win against a good Custodes list with the new toys at that same event. So fucking happy. Praise the God. Praising all the dark gods, which was, my third. I took 2 losses in Dice Hammer. The same Custodes list. And then I played it again for a 3rd time. So I know your skill level. You're never going to lose the Custodes again. But that might be a moot point because you and I were talking Chaos Shop earlier. And you sent me a pretty interesting Facebook message about going over to a friend's house and picking up Vindicators, and then cryptically, I'm bringing it back. What's all that about?
So I did want to change my list a little bit. The biggest reason for that is I had to yank the Helldrakes out because the TSA broke one. Those darn TSA agents. But basically, I just didn't want to have to worry about breaking models between every one of these travel sessions. So I rebuilt the list from the ground up. I also brought in mind my greediness with trying to separate my shots, and I added in a whole bunch of mortal wound engines into my army. So the Vindicators are very, very powerful in the 1-point stratagem that they have, where they pick a point within 24 inches, and then every unit within 3 inches on a 4-up takes 3d3 mortal wounds. That might not sound like a lot as far as 3 inches, but most armies are clumped. So you just hit multiple units. You get +1 to hit that unit if it has 10 or more models. -1 to hit if it's a character. But even still, 5-up to do 3d3 mortal wounds, most characters are dead.
You hit that lucky 5, but still, like a lot of people's strategies is about abusing auras, right? Not a lot of people might be caught up on that. So first off, I like it. Those are strong chassis. They're going to be helpful. They're going to benefit from the purge. They're going to trigger purges potentially if you see a good situation. I like that. I'm instantly in on this. I'm with it. You don't even have to convince me. I love it.
Yep. And even at worst case, if one dies and you can't use the stratagem anymore, they're still shooting strength 10 las cannons at things.
Oh, yeah, seems good. Is good. So so obviously Helldrakes are gone. Vindicators are in. But you said you had other mortal wound engines.
Yeah, so the Contentors, I found that all the Butcher Cannons, great weapons for clearing out hordes of infantry. I don't need all the 2 damage shots that I had in that army. So I put close combat weapons back on my Contentors. One still has a Butcher Cannon. But inside all those close combat weapons, the Dreadnought close combat weapons, they all have Soul Burners, which are D3 shots apiece of mortal wounds that are hitting on Blitzskill 2 starting, probably rerolling because of the purge.
So it's what, 2 of them with double Soul Burner, 1 with only 1?
Yep, so that's 5d3 at 24 inches on a 9-inch moving platform.
And also they have the hands now, which are devastating. They're punchy hands.
Yeah, it's strength, 12? 14? I think it's 14. AP3, 3 damage, because I did not splurge for the AP4 4 damage ones.
I don't need it. This seems good. So now you have you have another close combat element, which I like. And I've played with that exact unit before, and I've been very happy with it. So I like that. I like that you mathed it out, and you're like, I have enough bullets of this type. Let's switch over to these type that kind of just ignore armor. Do some, for freezies, because if you guys don't know how Soul Burners work, it's our mortal. So the conversion rate is very good because you don't have to roll a fucking follow-up wound roll.
Yes.
It's amazing. So still you got your 3 Lord Ds, and you still got your 3 Doritos, right?
Yep, because those are the workhorses. The Daredevils are such workhorses. Lord Discordants apply much pressure, and the Contemptors are going to follow up the Lord Discordants and apply further pressure.
Man, what a crazy rush down. See, I love it more. I love it. Like, now you're rushing down with the Lord Ds. Following the Contemptors right behind them. I mean, that's a lot to have to think about, while simultaneously they might not be thinking about pouring wounds into one Vindicator to stop the bombardment, if that's what they needed. And every turn the fucking Doritos are doing their thug thizzle, people are the people's models are evaporating.
Yep.
This is an incredible list. So you also ran it at Broadside Bash, a version of this list. You had some bikes and other things in the list because you were able to flip some marks around before the follow-up FAQ. So it was still Purge, pre-FAQ, out the gate, almost no time between the book and you were prepared to play it. How did you do Broadside Bash?
So Broadside Bash, I went, 5 rounds, 6 rounds? I lost 1 game, won all the rest. And that 1 game I did lose to was against one of my local buddies, Daniel Olivas. We have a really good, it's like 50-50 with us, with who wins, who loses. And you guys are intimate with each other's play style, your list. So that's tough. And a lot of your list is based on people not being ready for it. Yep. And then pretty much every single other game that I played at the Broadside Bash, most of the time, my opponent went first. They did whatever they did, clinked away at me. And then my first turn happened. And at the end of my first turn, every single game, the opponents were like, what the hell? I lost over half my army.
Oh, yeah. I will catch you walking around like 30 minutes after the round start. I'm like, what are you doing, bro? You're like, it's over.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean,
a lot of people would offer handshakes after like round 2, and they'd run out of their models. Like one guy had a billion cultists out in front of all his characters. I think it was 100. It was 3 squads of 30.
It was 1 billion, and he only had like 10 left when you were done.
Yeah, before I even got to my last 2 dreadnoughts, I was shooting his characters.
Wow. That's incredible. I mean, and we did. You and I talked after Broadside Bash. I got one of the podcasts talked about this, mysterious conversation I had with you, Urge, and how hype I was, which is kind of why I want to actually bring you on the show in this interview format, so people can understand how sick this shit is and how awesome model list chaos can be. I think a lot of top players who play chaos are going to start shifting to model chaos Space Marines as the season starts to kind of get to the end and they realize they're not going to win shit and they want to get best in faction.
Yep. Which, unfortunately, for anyone that's jumping ship, I do have a pretty strong stranglehold on Chaos Space Marines. You're going to have to work for it.
So here we go. I got my man Don on the show, the number 1, we're calling it now, the number 1 Chaos Space Marine player in the world. We'll see if that holds out. But what's your next event? What's the next? I mean, you're local, right?
Yep. Yeah, I'm local to Arizona. Pretty close. Pretty much go to all the southwest side stuff. Heading up to Las Vegas, Nevada this following weekend for the Gentlemen's GT. And Ladies GT. Going to go up there and test out, see how the Vindicators do.
Oh my God, I can't wait. I'm not going to be there. Unfortunately, I'm going to be at War Chief Games down in Irvine that weekend playing with some friends. But I got lots of people going out to Gentlemen's GT. I'm sad I can't be there, but definitely going to be cheering for you. You'll be in my fantasy league for sure. And after that, do you plan on maybe going to Slaughterfest the following month?
I do. I'm going to be heading to ATC first, but then after that, it's going to be Slaughterfest.
Ooh, man. Dude, see, it's going to be hard to catch you, man. People, like, I've got my mono list ready to go right now. Mine's a little bit different, but I did upgrade I do have the 3 Lord Ds now. I got them all done. They're sitting right over here. I can look at them. Super happy.
They're so good.
So fucking cool.
They're so much fun to play, too.
Oh, I'm stoked, man. I got some fun stuff, some tricks up my sleeves. Not Don level, but I mean, I'll be happy to just, continue to pull winning records out. I don't need to be top 8, which I would like to be, but turns out if you're not prepared enough and you don't put in the reps, you're not going to be top 8. You got to be doing kind of what Don does. He doesn't sleep on his skills. He's playing, he's refining, he's play testing. And that's just, advice to anyone out there who's trying to get better at 40K. You got to play more games.
Yep. Like even just today, I got 3 games in 4 hours.
See, you got your reps in, bro. You got a quick little workout in between. Yeah, between now and then. That's awesome, man. I feel like if there's anything you have, like I've seen you online posting amazing write-ups. I've seen some articles. Let's take this opportunity to talk about what you're doing with all that. Do you have any plans for anything? I mean, anywhere people can go to find your articles and insight?
So I do have a blog that I post. It's WordPress.Don Hooson, the Mastodon, something or other. If you go on any of the Chaos Space Marine groups or just find me on Facebook, it's going to be in those. I do my best to try to not flood the channels, but to basically let people know that things are being posted. And it's normally write-ups of my tournament reports and my opinions on certain units, especially ones that are not thought of as being the most optimal, like the Helldrake, even go last year, Blight Lord Terminators.
Ooh,
all those things.
Changed the game with those Blight Lords. The nation got swept back then too.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's amazing what happens when you just take that wool off of people's eyes.
Yeah. I mean, I'm running 10 Terminators on my list right now, mostly inspired by what you do with Blight Lord Terminators. I'm running 10 Black Legion Terminators right now. I think they don't suck now. Like at first I was like, these obviously suck. Then I started thinking about it. I was like, they don't really suck.
No, they're so good.
So yeah, I'll get links. Don't worry, anybody listening to the podcast tonight, if you're following it on Libsyn or whatever, wherever you find it, table of contents box, I'll definitely put some links up. Follow my man Don, so you can keep up to date with that heretical style. Obviously, makes me say that's fucking amazing.
Thank you.
Well, before we get out of here tonight, let me just say good luck on all your upcoming tournaments. I'm going to be rooting for you. You're going to be on my fantasy pick. I'll see you again real soon. Slaughterfest. And then after that, it probably won't be till LVO.
Sounds good.
All right, brother. You have a good night.
You too.
And we're back, guys. I believe that's the end of the show. Rob?
Haspil, take us out of here.
You're in trouble, program. Why don't you make it easy on yourself? Who's your user?